Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your November 2022 reading and forecast for Leo. And it's great to see you this month. I'm Nigel Saint James, clairvoyant. And, I've done a number of clairvoyant one-on-one readings for Leo people over the course of the last month. And if you might be interested, just check out the information that's in the description below. But now we're going to take 5 cards. 5 is all we need, because they are jam-packed full of information, as the regulars know, and we'll see what there is in store for you. So let's dig this one out first, and it is the 6 of Cups. Beautiful. This is the 8 of Discs. Quite stunning artwork in these cards, I think. There's the Knight of Cups. Let's have a look from in here. Oh, that's a good one too, the Ace of Discs. And what about you? You're sticking out. And that is the 4 of Discs. Well, why don't you come now? Sit down here next to me. We'll have a good close look at the imagery on these cards together while I do the reading for you. Let's have a look at the first card that you drew, which is this one, the 6 of Cups. Now, what do we have here? Well, I think the 6 of Cups depicted here is that of the Archangel Uriel, which means light of God. This is Christ consciousness, Krishna consciousness, Vishnu consciousness, rising up through the waters of your subconscious and out into the day. Your true self, your golden soul, found and tempered, now rising to consciousness from its own buoyancy, your free will, your will. Now here, Uriel has the claws of a lobster, or certainly of some sort of a crustacean, just like the one that we often see in the traditional moon card, from between 2 towers, because it is us and our potential rising from the mud at the bottom of the ocean or lake and out into the air. Now, in many ways, this mirrors evolution from the salty sea and your journey from the womb too, as you evolve and rise from the water onto land, into life, and into humanity itself. I think that this is a prime pattern for all of us as people, rising from the salty water. And here it is a pure and golden soul, your purpose for living. This is the angel who guards the gates of the Garden of Paradise. He checked the doors for the lamb's blood in Egypt at Passover, and he holds the keys to hell. Uriel is the patron saint of artists and of the arts. Artists also hold a key to the subconscious, I think, to both hell and to the Garden of Eden. Artists reach down deep into the well, the dark places in the soul, to find their inspiration. Uriel solves challenges by reaching deep into the depths of the self for answers, by trusting and helping the true self rise to the surface, by expressing that which was previously hidden, repressed, or locked away. In a nutshell, by growing. This is the Lord of Pleasure, and in it I see the Sun, your planet, ruling the 2nd decan of Scorpio. Now, also I have, mystically, the Sun associated with the number 6 as well, and a double sun reveals what Scorpio wants to hide. I see here with you, and I'm going to be frank, lust, enjoyment, pleasure in sexual relationships or in a fantasy life, rich exchange of sexual and heart energy, and emotional renewal. There is excitement here, maybe communication with ancestors, and possibly family support as well. Now, I speak of pleasure here, but it is the kind of pleasure which is completely harmonized. Now the sign of zodiac, the zodiac sign governing this energy here being Scorpio, well, pleasure is planted in its most fertile soil there, isn't it? This is a preeminently fertile card, and from my way of thinking, it is one of the best in the pack. This is an invitation to you to give yourself up to the richness of your own emotionality. Now, you may experience this as a jump into water, as the tingling anticipation of diving deeply, of disappearing, of letting go. Rising to the surface, you are refreshed. This is the process of death and rebirth. The result of taking the risk is deep emotional purification and renewal. So I see here pleasure, which is being... Look, the emphasis is on sexuality here, but it can extend to a pleasure in a broader form as well, and a pleasure which is experienced after maybe what has been much hardship. I think also that you are undergoing a period of healing at this time. This is a very healing energy here and transformation. The emphasis is on a relationship, or the desire to have a relationship that will improve both the individuals, where the whole is greater than the sum of the path. But I think what it is telling you is this, that you should now enjoy all which life gives you. This is the best way to express your gratitude. Are you holding on to old beliefs which prevent your enjoyment of pleasure? Enjoy your own emotional wealth and share it with someone. And say to yourself, I am now open to a person with whom I can share the joys of love on all levels. Well, we might look at that court card that was in the middle of your spread, and that is this one, the Knight of Cups. And he is the Prince of the Chariots of the Waters. What am I getting from this? Well, it looks like it looks like a knight on the quest for the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail was said to be the cup Jesus Christ drank from at the Last Supper. When he was on the cross, a Roman soldier stabbed his side with a spear, and blood and water flowed forth, and it was caught in the Grail. The blood and water being a mixture of both human and divine. Now this bestowed, according to legend, that Grail with miraculous sustaining and healing powers. But I think the Grail is the meaning of your life. Your heart, not only the physical heart, but the spiritual one as well. It is the center of your being and the source of life, strength, and sustenance. In fact, your reason for being. Now, this knight, I think, is Percival, with his vermilion armor, and he had a wife called Blanchefleur, in French, which means white flower. That's where I'm getting that from. Now, there's also here, of course, the red and the white, just as in the red and the white of the blood and water bled by the wounded Christ on the cross. Body and soul, blood and spirit, holding and sustaining each other. The red and white are the sacred marriage of the ego and the true self. And with that union, the blood and water can flow freely. Now, as a court card, it can be of either gender, of course, but I'm going to refer to it as a man. And I'm getting a lot of Scorpio around here again. Also Libra around here. And these people may be applicable to this. Now, he is air and he's in water. And so they're neutral. There's no elemental contradiction in his makeup. But with him, the elements combine with Scorpio, I think, to make him quite an intense character. As a fast river flows, so does he, trying to get the most out of life as is possible. It's desire here, wishes, cravings is what's going on here. This is a young man of subtlety, maybe of secret violence, certainly someone who's very crafty and cunning. Like an artist, he's someone who can appear calm on the surface, but this masks an intense passion. This is a person, I think, who is completely without conscience in the ordinary sense of the word. He is perfectly ruthless. He cares intensely for power, information, and his own aims. He feels no responsibility for anybody else, and he cannot be relied upon. All he cares about is power, information, and his own aims. And he looks after himself. Anybody else comes after that. Now, wishes and desires must be perceived and recognized. They are, after all, the fundamental driving force in your life. It is only possible to use and master them if you are wide awake and alert. Instead of suppressing them, you can use them in the process of becoming more aware. Now, when seen in this way, they are a vehicle that helps you journey into the world within. Now, this is a person also, I think, who has quite a very good insight into other people's lives, as they have usually done everything themselves. Now, this other person, I think, is somebody who, at worst, is cruel, selfish, and reckless. But putting that person aside for the moment, what I'd say to you is that you must accept your sexual needs and passions and live them out with awareness. You'll discover a lot in this process. Give yourself totally to the experience and observe yourself in it. And ask yourself the question, what secret wishes are you unwilling to admit to? Spend some time each day visualizing yourself in your desires and without getting lost in them. And say to yourself, I now live out my sexual desires because I am human and this makes me more vital and fulfilled. Well, I think we might have a look at this Ace of Discs. What's the painting? Oh, that looks like a Minotaur. What can we say about that? Well, I think what we can say about that is this from the painting itself. The Minotaur, of course, inhabited the labyrinth. Now, the labyrinth is thoroughly known. We only have to follow the thread of the hero path to find it. And where we had thought to find an abomination, we shall find a god. Where we had thought to slay another, we shall slay ourselves. Where we had thought to travel outward, we shall come to the center of our own existence. Where we had thought to be alone, we shall be with all the world. Now, in the labyrinth, there was this creature called, known as a Minotaur, a monster with the body of a man and the head and tail of a bull. Now, he came to be when his mother, whose name escapes me, was human, was cursed by the goddess Aphrodite to fall inconsolably in love with a bull. Now, he wasn't just any bull. He was the Cretan bull, an island of Crete at the bottom of Greece. A snow-white divine bull belonging to Poseidon and gifted to Minos to propel him into the throne of Crete. Now, King Minos never returned the bull to Poseidon, as a sacrifice, as promised. Thus, that set in motion the chain of events which would lead to his wife giving birth to a half-man, half-beast monstrosity with a hunger for human flesh. Now, King Minos had a labyrinth built, it's like a maze, to contain the bloodthirsty Minotaur. Now, the Minotaur's name was Asterion, which means star. And symbolically, he is indeed a star trapped inside a labyrinth of matter, flesh, earth, and bone. Asterion has the lineage, comes from a god, also of an animal and of a human. All three elements, all three aspects, like the consciousness trapped within the labyrinth of flesh, and your desire to work through its riddles and challenges and endless maze towards the tower that lies beyond, to salvation and to redemption. Now, I noticed that he is a bull, and coincidentally, I'm getting a lot of Taurus around here. I'm also getting Gemini and Aries here. This is speaking to me of a time when you have the beginnings coming into play of something genuinely tangible. There's a prosperity and growth in the air, material abundance, improving finances, possibly a pay rise or a promotion, certainly good luck. And you'll have a deep well of grounded, practical, organizational ability for the next year. There's the unification of body, soul together, material and spirit, heaven and earth. In short, there's a wholeness with you. Now, aces represent new beginnings and opportunities, and in the suit of discs here, it relates to work, projects, or new business. But with this green here, there's labyrinth, it's a colour of nature. It could also speak of fertility and the beginning of a new undertaking for yourself. And I think that you'll get ideas from being in nature. This Ace of Discs mirrors your readiness now to live a life that is inwardly and outwardly rich. All that is needed is already at hand. Give yourself up to the fullness of life and learn to use your wings. What areas of your life would you like to make richer? Work intensively on discovering and developing your potential, your inner wealth, and remain open for every form of enrichment in your life. And say this to yourself: I am in harmony with the flow of nature. Wealth is my natural condition. It allows me to express my spirituality and my creative potential in this material plane. Well, shall we have a look at the other disc that's on the same horizontal, and it is the Four of Discs. Actually, that's a very pastoral sort of a... I can imagine you and your soul going through paths, climbing mountains, coming through ravines, having ups and downs and doing different things. But nevertheless, this is the Lord of earthly power, and it is the sun. Incidentally, I have a mystical association with the planet of Jupiter here, and that is going to bring you great expansion, great optimism, and great good luck. But the astrology of the card is that of the sun in the third decan of Capricorn, which is the 13th to the 21st of January. Look, Capricorn is a feet on the ground, eye on the prize sign. And those with the sun in Capricorn, well, they generally have a realistic, grounded approach to life, don't they? I think what happens here is that the sun energizes the Capricorn earth, and material benefits and power are the result. I'll pull that out so I can see it with the other cards there again. Now, the sun in astrology is the symbol of your dynamism or power, you know, and Capricorn is the application of that power in a useful way. This is about strong foundations being built by you at the moment and a stability during this period. Now, you may not want to hear this, but I think you might have a tight rein on the budget during this period and be quite financially cautious. Certainly you'll be saving for the future and looking to protect yourself, I think. This is a time when I think financial and material security is going to be very important to you, but you have solid foundations for building it and for building up assets as a result of sound judgment. You are willing to work for what you want, and you'll have confidence in applying yourself to the world. You'll be seen as a dependable person who acts with integrity. And I think that there is here the fulfillment of your personal goals and dreams. Is your life, your behavior, like a rigid building, or is it open, like this scene here? Or do you need more order, structure, and solidity? I'd encourage you to study the different aspects of power at this time and say to yourself, I offer my power in the service of love. And that leaves us finally, I think, with this Eight of Discs that's up here. Wow, what's going on here? Well, let's have a look at it, shall we? And have a look and see. Well, this is, the Eight of Discs is the sun. Into the vulnerable mouth of the immortal lion, to the very center of your physical self. You swallowed the sun, and there it sits, a lamb, the image of that which is most white, most pure, most innocent, and lacking in bitterness. This is the mercy seat upon the Ark of the Covenant, flanked by two flaming and blazing angelic beings. It is the house of the heart that will be weighed by the ancient Egyptian goddess Ma'at at the end of life. Now, not only is it figuratively the sun, it is also in this position here, the sun, your planet, ruling the first decan of Virgo. Now, I also have the number 8 here, and number 8, I have a mystical association with Virgo. Now, Virgo is the ruler. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is also exalted in Virgo. So this is very favorable. And here, the sun energizes, this time, Virgo's hard work and attention to detail. Actually, I'm just getting this feeling here that there's a feeling of a pregnancy or birth around here. I think that you should understand that sometimes that there is a strength in doing nothing at all, to sow the seed, to sit back and wait for the harvest. I think that this is also a time where you might be taking calculated risks, being quite cautious, where you might also be undertaking education, upskilling yourself, finding out things on the internet. It's a time where I think you need to be physically cautious and careful. Just make sure you don't cross roads without just looking to see if there's any traffic coming. And you'll be interested in structure and detail. This is about not overextending yourself or underextending yourself, rather of being in the sweet spot where you can see all the bases that are there. I think that this is saying that you need the time and patience to develop something. Don't rush it as it's a long-term thing, and be prepared to bide your time and let it come to fruition. But this is an encouragement for you to keep doing what you're doing, as it will eventually lead to success. Now, of course, it's going to require dedication, focus, and patience, but as time passes, you get closer to your goal. Now, it may not be apparent to you, but events are unfolding which are going to lead you to your destination. Do you know that which is coming into flower in you now is of exquisite beauty and delicacy, just like this little lamb here. Provide for it the protection and nourishment it needs. You don't need to force anything. Everything unfolds at the proper time. Are you giving yourself the protection and nourishment you need now for your development? Say this to yourself. Look, I'm going to just chill out, relax, and trust life. Well, what an absolutely fantastic spread of cards for you. Well done, you. A fascinating spread of cards. I'm sure you will agree with me. And what a great month it looks like it's going to be for you. Gee, I might come move into your place if that's okay, because it looks like everything is going to be happening for the good. Well, what we're going to do now, though, of course, is to let that sink in, and I'll see you again next month. But until then, remember one thing, and it is this, that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, it's bye for now.